One of our testing areas that we will occasionally use in the summertime is way up in the desert mountains in Utah near an abandoned mine. It's hard to get to, and you can only use a motorcycle to get to it. So we can't go there in the wintertime, of course, just a couple months in the summer, and then trying to fit it into the schedule, very difficult. Well, TD is doing his own thing. He's split. He will roll into the project once in a while. But a couple years back, we tested this gun right here, the P227, and took it up to that location. And we conducted some dirt tests on it using the tailings from the mine, and it's still all over the gun. Look how sick that looks. I'll never clean it. I'm just going to leave it like this forever. I think I've shown this to you guys before, definitely in the review. Oh my, dude, why clean it? It looks like a specialized Cerakote job. You've seen like the rust colorations on AR-15s they do. Dusty looking. And they look cool, but this is real. This isn't fake. This is real. Some TMPers asked, hey man, how did you Cerakote it, get it looking like that? It's like, no, it's not Cerakote. It's mining dirt. Mining clay. Up in an abandoned mine. So cool. So we basically buried the gun in it and then shot it after and see how it did. It did great, of course. Hall of Fame go to war gun, SIG P227 with the extended magazine on it. That's some firepower in 45 ACP. Rock some plus P's in there. Yeah, I like it. Like I said in the Glock reviews, I'll still side with a 10mm, but man, 45 ACP plus P, it's right behind it. It really is, and that's a fun gun to shoot too. Soft, recoils so nicely. But we do try to test things. We do. As much as we can, as much as the schedule will allow. Kind of like this watch, Scuba Dive Proven. The Nixon Descender dive watch. Dove this in California. Of course, it passed with flying colors. The link is below. I will review it separately. And it is HOF all day long. Awesome. Rubber strap, Nixon. Really a well-made watch. Yes, knife review. I know. By the way, I've had this blade for about 10 years. This Katz Alleycat. And I got the big model, the 8008. The smaller one's the 6006. Here's the beat up box that's been knocking around for that long. Katz. The funny thing is, and you may be surprised when I say this, but here it is, and it's totally honest. This is one of my favorite daggers ever. The Katz Alleycat. The reason I didn't review it before is because it was kind of a sure thing. I was always thinking in my mind, well, I've got the Katz Alleycat. Man, that thing's awesome. I can do a tabletop review on that any day. Well, that was 10 years ago. And honestly, it's been here in the missile silo knocking around, waiting patiently for some attention. And then I saw it here, and I was like, dude, I'm totally reviewing that tonight. The people need to know about this really cool knife. First up, its looks are insane. It looks so excellent. Recurve belly on it, unsharpened swedge. It just has such beautiful grind lines. The Katz 8008. It's just a really cool knife, man. I'm really torn between a first cool or second cool review. They're really 50-50 to me. I think the capabilities of this combat knife are outstanding, and I think just for collectability and specialness, it's such really a rare knife. Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever heard of the Katz Alleycat? I bet most of you, if you're being honest, have not. It's a small company. I actually was at SHOT Show one year when I used to do shot coverage, and I stopped by the Katz Alley I stopped by the Katz knife booth, and I was going to give them a booth review. And bless her heart, there was some girl there, and she didn't know anything about the knives, and I started filming, and it was a really, really bad booth review. It was embarrassing. And so I didn't want Katz to look bad, so I never posted that review. I just sat on it. And that's a true statement. I just I like the knife maker, and for whatever reason, I didn't want to embarrass them, so I didn't do it. Doesn't mean I don't like their knives. At least this one. It is amazing. Now the steel is X170, XT70, whatever the freak they call it. What is that, Nutnfancy? I've never heard of it. Well, that's their proprietary name. There it is, XT70, sorry. That's their proprietary name for, get this, and this is a downside, OS 6A, I believe. OS 6A. So Japanese steel, as best as I can tell, going through their website and some other information, that's OS 6 blade. So that is not that great. It isn't. Especially for the price. This is not an inexpensive knife. It's going to be about, I think, $220 in Amazon for the big one, about $195 for the 6.5 inch version. This is the 8-inch blade. But you know what? I'm going to give it a pass on the steel because of its philosophy of use. This is not a hard use wilderness blade. It's a fighting knife. And I've always said for fighting knives, especially for this philosophy of use, dagger, steel is almost secondary because it's a piercing blade. It's that style of knife. And does it really matter? For second cool, it totally does. I mean, I like a better steel. And let me roll in a competitive option to make the point here. Man, is this a favorite all around, first and second cool, mostly first cool, dagger and fighting knife for me. The Cold Steel Peacekeeper 1 and VG1 San Mai. I reviewed the Peacekeeper series, both the 1 and the 2, I think in like 2008. Eons ago. And I'm rolling it here as a competitive option, both in terms of cost and in function. It is an interesting study in different blade styles. This being a double-edged, of course. This being a single-edged with an unsharpened swedge. And reach. So we have more reach with the Alleycat 8008. And steel. So this is a really premium steel, the VG1 San Mai. Do you need it in this style of knife? No, you don't. That's again my point. You don't. I mean, it's nice to have. It really is. But this isn't a wilderness blade where it's going to be seeing a lot of hard use. I've seen officers before carry peacekeepers before and soldiers, and I look at their blades and they look almost brand new. They're not using it hard. It's a fighting knife, last-ditch weapon. That's what they use it for. Again, I like the high-end steels on everything, but my point in saying all of this is I'm not going to condemn the Alleycat just because it has OS 6. Does that make any sense? Excellent sheath, by the way, in this one. Super excellent sheath. Oh yeah, I'm doing another Cold Steel review. Oh! The sheath on the Alleycat is, it's okay. It's okay. I would like to have a plastic sheath. I really would. It would be more of a soldier blade recommendation, honestly, if it did. I think probably the smaller version for soldier use on LBE would be better. A 6-inch, because this is more weight. 13.8 ounces for this one, so we'll call it a 14-ounce carry weight. The blade itself is 10.6 ounces on the Alleycat 8-inch. But this sheath is okay. It's ballistic nylon. I would suspect it's either made in Japan or sourced in China. I'm not sure. I don't like this. The loop over belt clip or belt loop is not great. It would be a chore to adapt it to LBE use. There's no drainage. It is very stiff. That's good. And the quality is decent. But again, if we take into account the price of the knife, we should get a little bit more. I mean, you're paying about $200 for this knife. Let's get a nice sheath with it. I like that they use snaps and not Velcro. That's a plus. But overall, the sheath is I'd give it maybe, if I was to put a star rating on it, I'll give it 2.5 stars out of 5. There you go. For reference, I'll give this 5 stars all day long. All the Securex sheaths, the plastic sheaths that Cold Steel does, 5 stars. Yeah, and this first cool is amazing. There might be knife fighting guys that don't like, and I'm talking practitioners of the art, that don't like the double edge. That's because of their technique. They can sometimes cut themselves with a double-edged knife. I've actually talked to a few. They said, yeah, I won't do a double-edged. So maybe a Katz would be a better option for them. And a lot of them don't like the larger blades. They like something much more maneuverable, quicker. I'm not a practitioner, so that's about where my expertise ends. Nor will I ever be. I've always said that. Let's look at the guard. double stainless steel. Super quality. I mean, just all throughout, it's what we'd expect from a Chinese production blade. I'm sorry, Japanese production blade. Kraton covered grip. Very cold steel-like, really. This part is. And in this 8-inch version, it's adequate for my large size hand. I mean, just so. It's just long enough for my large size hand. And let's again show that competitive option, the Peacekeeper 1 in VG1, and we'll compare the handle lengths. This is a little bit better. Longer. It's got a metal reinforced lanyard hold. This does not. It's just Kraton. I believe this is a full tang design. But again, first cool here. It's not really about presentation, it's about function here. This is actually has a blend, 50-50, like I said. So it's about presentation, high polish, stainless steel double guard. Again, the blade itself is just gorgeous. It's just a good looking blade. Thin blood groove running through there. Really thick too. It's a thick blade, and that's where that weight's coming from. I'm going to measure it in millimeters. .7. If you must know in inches, that is 0.18 inches in thickness. That to me is a thick dagger blade. It really is. Good traction on this Kraton grip. Kind of some squared shoulders on it, but nothing that I would say bothers me. In hand, the balance is forward heavy on this, which we would expect for an 8-inch blade. That's a big knife. It's a big knife with reach. This is, in my book, this would be a serious fighting knife. Reach and wicked. Let's check the edge. Phenomenal. Just perfection. God, that's a nice edge on that. Here's my paper. As usual, I have none. Oh, I got a card right here. So we'll cut this card a little bit. Oh my gosh, that's sharp. Look at that. Remember the thickness too. So in Japan, whoever sharpened this blade, they knew what they were doing. I could not improve on that at all. This perfection. And I did lead out with this, the belly on this. So it's got kind of the indentation here, the reverse belly, and nice belly here. I just really like that shape. Unsharpened swedge. You could sharpen that. That would be, it's extremely wicked. Oh my gosh. And the finish on the blade is perfection. It really is. To me, the Katz Alleycat series is about the blade. It's just a gorgeous, functional blade. It looks great, and it's going to perform great in roll, in the fighting roll. Says me. I think so. I showed you a competitive option here. How about we throw on the Gerber dagger as well? This is in 420 HC, reviewed in 2011, just for fun. Just for fun. Check that out. Let's throw it up against the Katz for a size comparison. Dude, that Katz is a big knife. Look at that. Oh, that is a huge knife. It dwarfs that Gerber. Look at that. It's almost like, it really is like a Bowie knife turned into a dagger. It is. The Katz Alleycat 8008. And here comes a Kabar Combat Utility, which is a relatively big knife. And the Katz is even bigger than that one. And thicker. Look at the thickness. Oh, dude. Yeah, I gotta wrap it up. But the Katz Alleycat, I'm gonna say it. I don't care about the steel. It's one of my favorite daggers made. It really is. For everything I've said, the blade is perfect. Perfect. The handle provides outstanding traction. I can forgive it for its minor quirks. I'd much rather have it than this knife if I'm going into harm's way. I mean, I love the Gerber, don't get me wrong. It's cool, but it's dated. That handle's too thin. It doesn't have a lot of traction. It has a wonderful guard on it, by the way. But I need to wrap an athletic tape or something. The Kraton handles are where it's at for first cool. If you want to, you know, have a lot of traction, Kraton. Especially when it's wet. And they last pretty well from my own experience. What Katz should do is do a presentation model of this. So improve the steel. Use, I mean, you're sourcing it in Japan, so just use AUS 8, get rid of this AUS 6, and then do a presentation handle on it. Something nice. But try to keep your costs low. So what would I like to see? I would like to see wood. Some type of really cool wood. And no, get rid of the squared shoulders. Maybe lengthen the hilt a little bit so I have more to hang on to. That would be awesome. And improve the sheath. And then make a presentation model. Will they do it? I don't know. But it's going to be a Hall of Fame combat knife. Yeah, here in Team P for sure. AUS 6A, 56 Rockwell, spear point. Is it perfect? No, but the blade shape sure is. Review complete.